Hello everyone and welcome to Super Rugby for today's preview of the Sharks Super Rugby squad and team ahead of this weekend because it has actually been announced. So with Super Rugby unlocked starting this weekend, the Sharks kick off the action with a game against the Lions at Kings Park. And looking at the Super Rugby unlocked as well as the Currie Cup, you have to say that the Sharks are the favourites. Quite simply, they were the best South African Super Rugby side. Look, many can argue they were the best Super Rugby side before lockdown. They were on the top of the log. Lots of Sharks fans are not very happy with life because they're going to have to restart and they lose all the good work they did at the beginning of the year. Such is life. Let's get on with it. Because the Sharks still have a very, very good squad. And I think what's been very important in converting a franchise which is perennially underperformed, really. It's always been a side that's very good during the group stage and just can't quite cut it, can't quite get there in the end. They never got that Super Rugby title against the Bulls where they could have, and this year, people were saying this was finally the year. Well, unfortunately, obviously COVID-19 happened and it won't be their year in terms of the overall Super Rugby, but they still have a chance of silverware with the Super Rugby unlocked. And look, if you look at the squad, it's a very good squad. And, yes, they've lost Tyler Paul, who's gone to Japan. Same as Mapimpi, who's gone on sabbatical as well. But, it's still a very good squad and a very exciting lineup. And I think what's been quite important with the Sharks sort of revival this year and with the fact that they are playing much better rugby has been a massive sort of cultural reset. And Sean Everett, the coach, has been very good at taking quite a head-on approach in terms of incorporating different players from different backgrounds, embracing the diversity, putting a very sound structure and very clear vision into the team, much like Rassie Erasmus did, and they are reaping the benefits of it. So if you look at the team for Saturday, unfortunately, no nice graphic to put up here. Any Shark social media people, if you're watching this, we'd really appreciate a graphic. I know you're trying to get a bit fancy with the video. A good old graphic would make my life a lot easier because unfortunately I just don't have the time right now to get a cool graphic together. But maybe next week when it's a bit a little bit less busy, I suppose, should we say. So if you look at the team 1 through 15, Oxenchair had a very good game against in the Springbok Gold Green. Dylan Richardson, Thomas Latoya, Ruben van Heerden, Hiron Andrews, James Fenton, Pepsi Buthelezi, Sikumbuzo Noche, Seneya Nahumba, Cohen Bosch, Werner Koch, Marius Lowe, Lekanyo Jay Peterson, and Mani Liebok starts at fullback. So it's interesting that you've got Liebok and you've got Cohen Bosch, both fly halves by profession and my first choice, but one of them is going to have to play fullback at the moment because there is that very unfortunate injury to Apelele Fassi, which is very frustrating as Sharks fans because he was so good pre-lockdown. He's so quick. He's such a good player on the counter-attack. And we've got so many players coming through at the moment, so many youngsters who are good attacking, backline players, and I think, we're starting to shift away from just South Africa being this very big, robust sort of backline with very little X-factor. And I think Cheslin Colby is busy rewriting, the South African proverbs when it comes to picking a team because it's not all about size anymore. Springboks are no longer just this. I mean, look, to be fair, we did bully sides in the World Cup, but we are adding more flair to the team. Cheslin Colby shows that. Spoon Causey even shows us that. Lekanyo as well starts as a player that can play with a lot of flair. So it's good to see that Springboks are kind of sort of bridging the gap between being a very physical, very traditional test match side where it's just all about the big and the grunt up front and then taking your penalties. And they are starting to play slightly more expansive rugby. Not quite New Zealand, but I think as the players' skill sets start to improve, and that has been a big feature of a young player, is the young players' skill sets are a lot better. Because I'm hoping, and what we're seeing is that there's been more emphasis at improving your skill sets as a junior player. You look at the New Zealanders and the props and the fullbacks have as good skill sets. You look at someone like Darren Coles who completely redefined the hooker role. We're now starting to see players with much better skill sets. Dylan Richardson is a good example of that. He's very good with the ball in hand. And even our front row are becoming more and more mobile. You still got your scrum specialists. Stephen Kitshoff's a very good scrum specialist. Same as Frans Mahou, but very solid in the scrums and a solid in the defense. But you are starting to see more props and more front rowers and even locks who are a lot more mobile and a lot better in the loose. Oxenchair is terrific in the loose, and I'll tell you what, you give that guy 15, 20 meters to run and build speed. I'm not tackling him. I'm out for that. I mean, I feel sorry for anybody that has to. He's huge. Something like Joseph Dweber, powerful, but also quite skillful. And it's a nice combination. And hopefully we get more players in that sort of mold. So if you look at the side, the big names that jump out are Seneya Nahumba for me is one. And he's creating a selection dilemma. Because I'm telling you right now, given the lack of rugby we've had this year, given the lack of preparation we are going to have building into the British and Irish tour next year, I don't see the Springbok squad changing that much, especially if we don't actually get to play in the Rugby Championship, which is looking more unlikely by the day. So potentially we might actually just not have Test match rugby until the British and Irish Lions tour. And a tour like that is so important. It comes around so rarely. It only happens every 12 plus years. And it's an amazing opportunity for a lot of players, but it's not one that can be taken lightly. So it's one that very few players will make their debut playing British and Irish Lions against the British and Irish Lions, and even less so given the fact that we're going to have a very stop-start domestic season. We don't even know what the domestic season is going to look like next year in preparation. Usually it would have been a Super Rugby running until June, and you take a break, play the Irish tour and stuff like that. Next year is very much unknown. We don't know what's happening. At this stage, the Currie Cup ends in January. And, I think somebody like Seneya Nahumba is somebody that's having to possibly disrupt those plans, because I think we would have seen a very similar squad to the World Cup. But he's playing so well, he's becoming difficult to ignore, much like Herschel Jantjies. Herschel Jantjies was not in Rassie Erasmus's plans for the World Cup. When he came into the job, he was not taking Herschel Jantjies to the WorldP. We're impressed if he actually really knew who Herschel Jantjies was at the time. But he played so well, he couldn't leave him out. And Seneya Nahumba is doing something very similar. Other big players, obviously the captain is the most important. The Kanya is probably one of the best 13s in the world right now on form, and he gets this. If he gets going, and this Sharks backline can tick. Lots of experience. He just reads the game so well. He's just such a good. He's pretty much good at everything really. He's good on the defense, good on the attack. He reads the game well, with some fantastic offloads, and he's got great game awareness. So he's an intelligent player, and he's a player that he walks into most teams in the world. James Fenton for me has had a really good start at Sharks, coming from the Lions, and defensively his stats are right up there with the best of them. Pepsi Buthelezi is a nice young player. Oxen Chair has been really good. Hiron Andrews is starting to come of age, and it's good to see Sikomboze Noche, his move to the Sharks is paying off. He's back to playing some of his best rugby, and I've always been a massive Noche fan. I just think that he's the proper modern flank. He's got a good skill set. He's not just the big bulk. Because at the end of the day, it can win you games, but when you watch New Zealand and you watch them play and you watch that sort of expansive thing, it's just so enjoyable. And it's good to see that that South Africa are moving away from just the sort of big bulky pack, and then and then again a big bulky backline. And you think that we used to have some very big players in the backline. You used to have Jacques Fourie just running through people at outside centre. We've now got Lakanya a much more diverse sort of player, with good offloads and that kind of thing. So it is changing, and I think if you look at players like Sikomboze Noche, it's good to see that he's been able to go to the Sharks and get his career going again. Werner Kok will be an interesting one at wing, and Curran Bosch has been playing some good rugby this year, and I think he suffered the hype. Well, suffered as a result of the hype he created when he was so good in the Craven Week for EP, that he was kind of rushed into the system and didn't really have the time to hone in his game at that level, and this is a common problem where we see a good player and we think that's a future Springbok, and they push him into there immediately. And I always feel, just a personal opinion, that you have to give these players the chance to be the best they can be within their setup. Let Curran Bosch be the best under-19 rugby player in the country. Let him go to the SA Under-20 Championship. Look, this is all in the past. But let them go to the international championship and be the best player. Go and be better than everybody else. Yes, they will outgrow that level, but why? There's no need to rush players into international rugby if they're not necessarily ready for it. And we've had so many players who've come through and haven't quite had the international careers we thought they would because they were rushed. James O'Connor for Australia is one. You think of Richardson, Johan Richardson for South Africa, also another one who just so good at S20, and then just a couple of injuries, went overseas, and he's never really didn't have the Springbok career we thought he was going to have. Pollard almost, he very almost missed the World Cup with all the injuries he had. Another one was rushed through quite quickly. So I think we need to start taking our time with a lot of players and letting them gradually make the step up. We've got good depth. There's so many players in South Africa playing professional rugby and outside of South Africa that there's no need to rush players. And I think Curran Bosch is a player that has suffered because he got rushed quite quickly. Look, he's still a very young player, still got lots of years left in him, but he's finally starting to get to the level that we thought he would be a few years ago. And you just need time to adapt. So, eventually see how he keeps going. Monty Liebach at 15, made the move from Bulls to Sharks to get game time. And I think he's lucky that Fassy's not playing, because I think he wouldn't be playing if Fassy was actually available. Some good players on the bench. The big tackler, Jeremy Ward. Tucker Abrahams is a nice outside back to look out for. JJ van der Mesht, he's very big. He's on the bench, as well as the likes of Dan Uester, Nzamo Majola, John Hubert Mayer, Pilo Gomede, Grant Williams are the players on the bench. A lot of debuts this weekend. And, they're missing Impimpi and they're missing Tyler Paul, who are in Japan. But it's still a very good squad. And you still got the likes of Madosh Tambwe to come in, a very good finisher. Hopefully Fassi can come back from injury quite soon. So it's a very strong squad, and you have to think that they are the favourites. If they can replicate what they were doing at the beginning of the year, they will be the favourites. They are the team to beat. The pressure is on them, which will be interesting to see how they handle that. Because, it's funny what pressure can do to a team. Because you look at the team like the Lions, and the reason they were so good for those years is because they came from absolutely nothing, and they had absolutely nothing to lose. They had already lost everything. That they had nothing to lose and everything to gain. And that was the freedom that they played with. They just sat there saying, nobody backed us, nobody believed in us, we're going to believe in ourselves, we're going to believe in the people around me, and we're going to do what we can and try and do something special. And they almost did. They did do something special. They might not have won the tournament, but they did do something special. And the Sharks now have the pressure of saying, well, there it is, we know you're the team to beat. The Bulls have done lots of signings and stuff to try and catch up with you. The Storm is going to try and catch up with you. The Lions need to prove that they can still compete at this level. But that is the Sharks this year was the benchmark. So that's the pressure they have to deal with, because they are now the favorites. And look, I don't think it'll be a massive issue for them, but it is, one of those things that they need to live up to expectations, because it's a very well-run union at the moment, which have got some very good players in. And now you need to see not only performances on the pitch, but silverware. So they are the favourites, but they need to go out and earn the right to be the favourites and prove why they are the favourites and go all the way. So it's a long competition. We've got 5 game weeks coming up, or 7 game weeks coming up. So this competition ends in sort of the end of November. So lots of matches to play, and then the Currie Cup straight afterwards. So lots and lots of rugby coming up, and a chance for the Sharks to try and get some silverware. I think they are the favourites. Let me know if you disagree in the comments. Jump in below. Let me know what you think of the squad. Please do jump in the comments. Please make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to build a bit of a community. At the end of the day, we are for the fans, by the fans. I'm a fan, you're a fan. Let's all be fans together on the channel. Also, make sure you check out the Forever Rugby channel itself. Hopefully have some fan cams. As soon as the stadiums are open, we want to get to the stadiums, chatting to fans, meeting new people. This is what we're all about. So please do show your support in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and help us try and reach a bigger audience. Thank you very much for watching. Hope everyone's had a fantastic week thus far. Enjoy the last few days as we head into the weekend of rugby. 3 domestic matches, buzzing to have it all back. So excited that we can watch rugby that actually means something. Very excited. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen Pettit, and I will chat to you very soon.